And this is video for people which say I got green screen behind my back. If I got green screen behind my back, so how do you explain this?
Oh, well, if it's not green screen, that can only be one thing, that you are actually doing real, genuine levitation. I can't imagine any other way you could possibly trick us if it's not a green screen. So it must be real levitation. I don't know. I don't know what else to say today. Alright, welcome back to Magic Isn't Real, the place where we analyze what's magic and what's reality. And trust me, today is mostly gonna be magic. I have no doubt about that. So, I've already made a video about Ernest Vider and his students claiming to be able to actually levitate for real and charging you a shitload of money to learn this from them. Today, stay until the end of the video. Actually, I suggest you subscribe and hit the like button and start sharing this video already, because at the end of this video, I'm gonna reveal to you some solid evidence that they are definitely cheating. Yes, stay tuned, this is happening. In this recent video, Alex, one of Ernest Vider's students, was accused of using green screen. So he did this little demonstration throwing like balls behind his back while levitating to demonstrate that it is not green screen. That actually doesn't really matter, because today I'm gonna show you not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, sorry, I got too much into it. 5. I'm gonna show you 5 different ways that you can achieve this levitation without any visual effects whatsoever, which means that you could potentially do it on a live stream as well as a live show. All right, before we start, I want to make a magician joke. Okay, so this is a magician joke. So if you're a magician, you're gonna understand the joke. If you're not a magician, don't worry, you'll get where I'm going with this. How many magicians does it take to change one light bulb? The answer is 5, because you have one magician changing the light bulb and 4 other magicians arguing over better methods on which he could be changing the light bulb at that moment. Now, if you're a magician, you know that's funny because it's true. If you're not a magician, we'll get there. Anyway, my point is that I'm going to show you 5 different ways on how you can perform levitation, but that doesn't mean that these are the only possible way that you can do it. That doesn't even mean that one of this is how he's doing it. It could be a combination of any of this, or it could be something that I don't know about that he has came up, or something that is completely new. So there's a lot of methods. I'm just going to show you 5 different ones that this could be achieved. So let's go. Number 1, it's the most obvious. He just has a rope coming from the top attached to his belt, and he's just levitating. Now, the problem with this method is that he would have to have some pretty solid rock abs to keep his feet up like this for the longest time. I'm not saying that's not possible. Maybe it does. And also, before you mention anything, I'm gonna talk about the stick. I'm going to talk about the stick. I talked about it already in a previous video, but I'm going to mention the stick again. So don't get mad at me. I just want to go through all the things. And if you're wondering how come I don't see the rope, it will be a very thin rope that usually matches the color of the background. Or if you set up the lighting in a certain way, you won't be able to properly see it. And trust me, it's a very thin, it's almost like it's not a rope, it's actually a cable. It's a cable, it's very thin and it's very strong, and it can definitely hold a human being. Option number 2, he has 2 thin wires attached on the side of his body. He could potentially even be sitting on it, and they're attached on the side, or they're attached on some sort of mechanical system that would allow him to, like, if he wants, he can raise up, or he can just start by sitting on it and staying there. Now, again, they're very thin. You won't be able to see them. I will talk about the stick. And it will allow him to kind of hovering the way it is right now. He would require to balance a little bit, but it won't be that difficult. Put a pin on the setup, because it's going to come back at the end of the video when I'm going to reveal the biggest reveal of all, which they are cheating, they are lying, and they're stealing your money if you want to learn real levitation from them. So remember this setup for the end of the video. Moving on, setup number 3. Okay, this one is a little bit more out there, but just hear me out, because it is a possibility. He is sitting on something that is transparent. He's sitting on a giant glass box or a plexiglass box that is absolutely almost transparent if you set up the lighting and the camera in a certain way. This way, he could even throw the ball like he did, or he could even show the back. He could swing a stick on the back and this type of stuff like that. But let's move on to option number 4, which is a variation of this, which will allow him to do a bunch of stuff. Option number 4, actually, you know what? Let's call it option number 3.5 because it's pretty much the same thing. There's just one slight difference that's important. It is still a transparent structure like made of glass or plasticus, but it's positioned at an angle. Now, why is it positioned at an angle? Because if he wants to get the stick that he loves so much, this way, in this angle, he will be able to swing the stick underneath him, on top of him, and even up the back if he angles the stick. Option number 4. It's again another glass structure, but this time is kind of positioned sideways at an angle, which will be perfect because it would allow him to kind of swing his stick that he loves so much all the way on the side, on the top, underneath. All right, let's talk about the stick for a second, even though I already spoken about this damn stick in my previous video, but yet here we are. So he has the stick where he oh, sorry, that's embarrassing. Oh, sorry. So, as I was saying, he has a stick. That was a long thing to just do this very silly magic trick. That was a long way just to do this. And I'm proud of it, and you should be proud of it too. We did it together, me and you. And you should subscribe just for that, just for my commitment to the magic bit. As I mentioned in my previous video, he has this stick where he does this kind of, he moves it around, he moves at the back, he goes to the side, and I already mentioned that his movement seems very rehearsed. Like he seems like he's very careful when he goes to the back, that he doesn't hit the specific point, and he does this weird awkward movement when he brings it back and forward, almost as if he's trying to dodge something on the side, which would explain if he has a setup like the one we just spoke about. His rehearsed movement could be because I believe that the most likely scenario, the system that he's using to levitate and move the stick around, could be option number 5. So let's now talk about option number 5. Now I'm gonna have to draw. By the way, I apologize. I am terrible at drawing. My drawings are really bad. Like, you wouldn't even believe that I actually have a degree from the Academy of Fine Arts in Rome, and yet this is the level of drawing that I can do right now. Like, no wonder they almost kicked me out. Option number 5, I think he's actually sitting on like a metal rod that goes straight all the way to the back, and it has a mechanism that allows him to go up and down. This way he can actually perform a levitation. Now, this is the side view. What's important here, I'm gonna have to show you the top view, because what's important here is that this metal rod is not exactly straight, but it goes more like an S, as you can see. Now, this S will allow him to move the stick up to a certain point at the back, as well on both sides, left and right, as well as on the top and as well as at the bottom. So this S structure of metal would allow him to actually move the stick to the back at a certain angle. So right now, for me to demonstrate that, what I mean by that is that because of the structure of the S, he should be able to bring the stick up to a certain point as long as he stops when he knows that he needs to stop. And this is what I mean when I say his movements seem very rehearsed. He can even do one of this. He could bring the stick here as long as he moves it like that. You see, I'm tilting it so that it passes through the little S. And since it's an S, there's another space where I could do this the same. And boom, it just went at the back, at the top, at the bottom. Anyway, none of what we just did actually matters. It doesn't matter. I know. What a gigantic waste of time. You know why it doesn't matter? Because this guy has a video where he levitates. And then he has a jumping rope that goes full 360 around his body. Now, how do you explain that? How can he possibly be doing that? There's no invisible piece of glass. There's no green screen. There's no cable. If the rope is going around 360, how could he possibly levitate? Well, this is the video. I apologize for the quality. They purposely try not to upload anything that's good quality, so you cannot really zoom in into it, which is weird, by the way, because nowadays even the crappiest phone you can buy can probably film in at least 1080 HD or even 4K. But anyway, let's watch the rope go around. Now, it's quite impressive, I'll give you that. The rope is going full on 360, but don't you notice that there's something weird about his hand movement? Now, I can't zoom too much, but you see how the end, it's opening up in this kind of motion like this in a weird way. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is because, remember when I showed you option number 2? This is how he's probably levitating right now. He is hooked from the side with 2 very thin cables that come like this and holds him up. And the way he is able to go 360 all over like this with a jump rope is because he opens his hand and lets the jump rope go through the cable and then catches it again. I'm losing you. I'm losing you. I have to demonstrate it. I have to show you how this works. I understand that. So in order for me to give you an example, I'm going to have to use this rope, which you can find at pretty much any hardware store, like Home Depot. I don't know where you live. Like any hardware store would have this rope. And then I'm going to use this other rope that you can find in any bedroom. All right, so as you can see, I have attached my rope over there, quite tight on the side. Just imagine that I have another one over there and it's like lifting me up, but I'm just going to use one for the purpose of this experiment. Now, this is going to be acting as my jumping rope that will go around my body, right? If I was levitating for real and I didn't have to like do any trickery or whatever, I would just hold this like firmly and I would just go around my body like this, but then this would happen, right? The rope would touch the wires on the side, get tangled with it, and the trick would be ruined. Now, watch carefully what it is that I'm going to do with my hand, and then we're going to compare to the Alex levitation. So now, if I go around like this, and I open my hand at the right spot, and then just keep on catching the rope, this can go all around 360. Boom. Magic isn't real. I'm sorry. This is what's happening. It's just like this. Look what my hand movement is doing. Compare it to what he's doing. And this is going to be quite simple because first of all, did you notice that he's going backwards and not forward? If you have a jumping rope, normally I go forward. I don't know how you train with a jumping rope, but he's going backwards. Why? Because forward, this hand movement is much harder to do, as you can see. So backwards makes it much easier. So that's already one question for you, Alex. Why don't you do the levitation, but now the rope is going to go forward? And the second question is that why don't you do the levitation and you keep your hand tight? Keep it tight. Why are you opening your hand? Huh? Why? Why are you opening your hand? I have a question. Why don't you answer? You answer about the green screen, of course, because you're not using a green screen, so that's an easy answer. Now answer my question. Huh? Why? Now, I don't know about you, but that to me seems pretty obvious and pretty suspicious that he's doing the movement that way, then he's opening his hand. But again, draw your own conclusion. Maybe he's doing real levitation. Let me repeat myself. Maybe in the next video, he's gonna keep the rope super tight and he's gonna move forward. The problem is, as I said in my little joke, these are not all the methods. There's a million methods on which he could potentially levitate. So as I keep on screaming in pretty much all of my videos, it doesn't matter. He needs to be tested under control environment. He needs to levitate in a lab. Last 2 points that are very important that I need to say. Right now, I just reveal a kind of like a big deal for magician. The method number 4 that I show and this little jump rope thing, it's a secret in magic that I just reveal. And if you're a magician and you're upset that I just revealed a secret, I'm not the one you need to be upset. He's the guy claiming that he can do real levitation and stealing money from people, saying that they can teach them real levitation. That's him. He's the one you need to be mad at. He's the one who forced me today to reveal this trick. I had no other choice. So if you want to be mad at someone, keep in mind, this guy performs. He goes on stages and he performs. He's a magician. He's a professional magician who doesn't have the balls to just say that these are tricks. Because I guess if he has this persona that he's actually doing the real deal, he probably makes more money and he gets hired more. Because that's the only trick he can do. Because otherwise he's probably an average magician that nobody would hire. But if people think he's the real deal, just be mad at him. It's his fault of what happened today. Don't yell at me for revealing this secret. Okay? And for the last part of the video, I just want to talk to what is so-called my side. Which I don't like this. I don't like to this idea that there's two sides fighting. And I don't like this idea of like we necessarily have to prove that one people are wrong and they're stupid and the other people. I don't like it. I want to believe that we're doing all this together. So at the end of this video, I'm actually going to be a little bit mad at all of you skeptic wannabe on social media, because whoever commented that they were using a green screen, don't. Just because you're a skeptic and you're like, levitation is not real, it's green screen. Don't. If you don't know how they're doing it, then don't leave a comment. Because when you leave a comment and you are obviously wrong, what you're doing is that you're giving them weapons to use. You're giving them excuses to say, you see, you guys think this is fake because you think it's green screen. Look, it's not green screen. If you don't know, if you don't have certainty that this is how they're doing a trick, please don't just comment it's fake, because you have to take the position of the skeptic. But if you don't know how someone is doing a trick, you can't just throw it out there with 100% certainty that it's green screen and you know it, because then this happens. Because then he posts this video and now his followers follow him even more because he just proved you wrong. Why? Because you rushed to a conclusion without doing like proper research. You know how long it took me to find that video to spot that it was doing that movement with the hands? Yeah, it takes work. So please appreciate that it takes a lot of work, and let's all come to the conclusion that none of this actually matter until like they decide to be properly tested under controlled environment. Otherwise, we're just going in a back and forth, which is quite entertaining if I may add. And I love talking about magic and figuring out magic tricks, so this is really cool. Anyway, if you're still here, I thank you so much. I appreciate you. I want to remind you that I have a Patreon page if you want to support the channel and learn some magic in the process. It is right there. The link is down below. To prove to me that you watched the video right until the end, I want you to tell me what kind of rope do you have in your bedroom. Keep it clean though. Kids might be watching this channel, I think. I don't know. So keep it clean. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace out.